Welcome back to another video, and today we will be discussing the newest makeup announcements and releases. Welcome back, and as you can probably have noticed, we are a bit out of my usual filming schedule, so kinda long story short, I had a very busy last week, and I usually film these videos during Sundays when I have more free time, but there were a lot of stuff during the week and on weekend that I just had to take care of, so that is why you had the first impression video of the NYX and the Dior sort of products in the beginning of this week, because that was actually meant to go out already at the end of last week, but because it was busy I sort of was able to put it out in the beginning of this week, and now I'm filming this in the middle of week, which I usually try to avoid, but I thought that either I would have skipped altogether my every other 2-week makeup releases video, or I would have filmed this and put it out next week. But there had been so many, I think, interesting products coming out during the last few weeks that I did want to actually make some time during midweek and film this. So yeah, that's about that. But let's actually now get to the releases. And I think, considering that because I do these approximately twice a month, and there has been I think now a couple of makeup releases video that afterwards I have been at the end of the video that yeah, there were some nice products, but nothing that I'm running out to buy. But now there seems to be we're picking up in terms of products that are actually interesting. But let's actually go through my Instagram folder, because yeah, there's a lot of stuff. So this is a release that was actually just shown after I had filmed my last video. So this is the Flower Nose, the limited edition Violet, Violet limited edition of Strawberry Rococo collection. So they had this Rococo collection, I think already, was this a year ago, because I believe this is quite of an old collection. So this is basically a collection extension, and with Flower Nose, they are a Chinese brand, everything is very pretty, but the sort of aesthetics are product packaging, everything looks very pretty, but it is definitely a different kind of makeup to Western style makeup. But I do have to say the sort of bright pinkish blush, actually now I'm a bit confused that if this is a lilac collection, why are we having a bright pink? Why are we having bright pink blush? Oh well, anyway. There's a bright pink blush, then there is an eyeshadow palette. Yeah, it's the eyeshadow palette looks kind of nice. There are lilac and pink shades, but all of these look like they're very mid-tone shades, so I'm thinking that with this one you would only most looks you would get are kind of wash of color looks, because there isn't anything to create depth in this palette. Also there aren't super light shades in this one, so that's also kind of why I'm not this again won't be the collection that is gonna make me order from this brand. And then we have I think those are the liquid lipsticks, and then there's a handheld mirror. Actually I think the mirror is the prettiest. The lilac strawberry themed mirror is the, I think, cutest thing in this collection. This is already available on their website if you're interested in buying it. Then let's actually go to, okay, so I'm gonna just, Sephora has been doing, so Sephora has their own Sephora Collection brand, and they have been now during the last 2 weeks, there has been almost every other day there has been announced that Sephora Collection has released a new line. So I think I don't know what is it that they're revamping all of their products or something, but I'm now going to in this section show the ones that I thought were kind of interesting, but just so you know, this isn't necessarily all of them, because as I said, I have been there's been every other day there seems to be an announcement that Sephora Collection has redone this or has re-released this or other product. So I think from the 2 lip products that I have been able to spot, there was, I'm actually now seeing these. They have now lip lacquers, which I do lip lacquers in a sort of an traditional bullet lipstick format. And so if these are lip lacquers, then they are advertising that these have 12-hour hydration and prismatic shine. And these were, I think, from the lip products the most interesting, because I do know that, for example, Tarte, they made their sort of maracuja lip glosses in a lip lacquer format, and we have seen I think Maybelline has been the one that made the lip lacquers sort of popular with their product, their kind of product last year. So that is something that now the Sephora Collections has also done their part. And I do actually think that it's interesting, because most of the lip lacquers I think I have seen, they are either in this sort of a gloss packaging or a sort of a doe food applicator or sort of gloss format, but these are actually in a bullet lipstick. And Let's see, does it say that are these supposed to be the one that actually stain and sort of leave color under the shine? This lipstick contains pigments with unrivaled power to reflect light for maximum prismatic shine. 12-hour hydration for 12 hours, and they are saying this is a high coverage product, which again mostly lip lacquers are. For example, I have the Catrice released their sort of version of lip lacquers, which I did actually like that product quite a lot, and those are also the sort of like they're very high shine, but they're also quite pigmented. It says that the formula retains optimal intensity without bleeding into fine lines. However, it doesn't say that will it, for example, like with the Catrice product, for example, that I have tried out during this spring. I'm not sure is this something that leaves a shine, but at least they're sort of implicating that this also has some longevity. The next sort of Sephora product that I thought would be interesting is this one. So they have now released cream contour sticks, and I do have to say, like, I'm looking at, for example, the lightest shade in this one, and this would actually be very sort of shade that would fit sort of my skin undertone and skin tone all together. So this is in a stick format, and it says that it blends into the skin for an undetectable, long-lasting waterproof and transfer-free result. I don't think I have seen, well, transfer-free is something that I have seen with cream products, but waterproof that's quite an interesting claim. But yeah, again, I'm thinking that are these already available? Like, this has to be available because it has been like some weeks now that this was originally posted. These are like $14 US each, and actually these are already available because there was an affiliate link in the description box. Then the next one was Boost and Look eyeshadow primer. So I'm not actually sure because again I live in a country that doesn't have a Sephora, so I'm quite dependent on my knowledge about Sephora, what Sephora has basically from the few of the European Sephoras that I can sort of look from my country online, and if I do visit a country during holidays that has a Sephora here in Europe. But I'm not sure that did actually Sephora have in their Sephora Collections a eyeshadow primer before. It says that it has a cream formula, but this should lock your eyeshadow for 12 hours. Well, I wouldn't maybe take that with a grain of salt, but this is supposed to be basically something that intensifies and locks your eyeshadow in place, and because it is a creamier formula, then I assume this is one of those that will sort of, because I do know some eyeshadow primers are this sort of see-through more sort of formula that makes your eyeshadow sort of stick better, but this, I think, because it's a creamier formula, it also should create sort of a base to your eyelid. Then what were the other products? Because like I said, I think the last one that I will sort of mention from this, and this is actually something that is apparently available in some European Sephora, so these are their bronzers, and I was initially a bit confused because I did actually remember that I just spoke about new Sephora collection compact bronzers in my previous video, but these are apparently like shiny ones. So the previous ones that I have discussed in my, I think, last video was that those were the matte ones, and now they have brought out some of these more like glowier ones, and actually there is some Trendmood has put out an image where they have the sort of like matte ones and the shiny ones like together. So how many shades are we getting? 3 shades. Really, are we only getting? Yeah. So there only seems to be 3 shades. I do think it's a Sephora collection, considering that it is a big in-house brand. Maybe they could have done a bit better in terms of how many shades they offered, but then again with the contour sticks I also think they only had 4, so yeah. But these are also, it says coming soon, but I'm not sure. Yeah, other countries coming soon, but these are apparently available in some European countries. Yeah, but I think those were the Sephora collection products, but I'm just gonna like say, because I do believe I noticed they had also like released individual eyeshadows, and there was even a new brow pencil, and I think there were even a new compact powder, so there's just been a lot of Sephora collection products coming out recently. So next, a luxury eyeshadow palette release that did get me kinda excited. So Byredo finally came out with their bi-yearly big palette release. So Byredo, they are more known for their, I think, fragrances, and then with regarding their makeup lines from their, like they have Quince. However, they have now had the habit that once a year they have released this big palette. If you've seen sort of my makeup ranking videos, you know that, for example, the Remembrance palette, which was their big palette release last year, that is one of my favorite like higher-end palettes. So, but this new one palette is called Mineralscape. This is already available. There are already, I think, plenty of reviews on YouTube. This, I think, was more popular than Byredo, actually. Probably anticipated, because I think when they initially released this on their own website and few retailers, it immediately sold out, and then a lot of Byredo retailers, when people were asking them when is the palette coming, they said that they had to push the palette launch back, so it sort of indicated that this had much more higher demand than the brand anticipated. I do have to say this is like something a bit different, so this has a lot of like these deep greens and blues. When we usually think what higher end brands come out with, we are usually thinking about the more sort of neutral, peachy, pinky tones, and then the sort of very basic neutral colors, so this is something different. I initially was thinking that when this comes to, because we have a couple of Byredo retailers, so I was thinking that yeah, this could be something I could get, but when I really started looking at the palette, and especially because I will try to put the images like on the side, so below each other, but initially I was thinking that, oh, this also has this maybe sort of almost like a muted pastel vibe with some of the like shades in this one, and this sort of very earthy sort of vibes in terms of also the greens and the blues. But then I started seeing some real life photos, and in real life this, especially the blues and greens, they are quite deep, and we all know that these deep jewel toned shades aren't exactly my cup of tea. So I in the end came to the conclusion, and because the price of these, as with all makeup, has gone up, so I think previous year I paid 99 euros for the Remembrance palette, and now I saw on Byredo's own website that it's now 105 euros, and I was like thinking that, well, there is now the one side that, especially when I saw the swatches, that there's like the one sort of side that if you look at it as a 9 pans of colors, then a combination of colors, I was like that, yeah, I'm not gonna use those, because those are like the sort of very deep tones of colors that I don't usually prefer. If I would, like, the palette would be more on the sort of more lighter side, which had the more sort of neutral shades and the more lighter purples, then I think this would have been a more like appealing palette to me, but because I already like thinking that there's like not quite many shades that I don't like, so I will be spending my 105 euros to something else. But as I said, this is like available now. I think more retailers have now gotten this, and I do say that if you like the quality of the Remembrance palette, then this could be a good another palette to try from them if you like the tones that the palette has. Next, something very interesting, and actually I'm gonna now talk about both of the Byredo releases. So first thing that came out, I think already a few weeks ago, Byredo has jumped into the liquid highlighter wagon. That seems to be now what everyone else is doing. So they have come out with this Byredo liquid highlighters. They have 3 shades, so there's this one pearly, almost like bit of an holochrome looking shade, then there's a golden shade, and then there's sort of a red peachy shade. This could be a product that could be interested in throwing into my cart if I'm making a Byredo order. However, I'm not gonna make a Byredo order, just order these. What is the price? $11 each. I think the euro price was 10 or 9 euros when I checked on their website. And then another actually complexion release, and this was released during beginning of this week. So Byredo has come out with their version of this sort of cream face palette that I think was it Makeup Forever which made these popular, I think, last year. So these are sort of, they have 2 color variation, one for fair to light and the other to medium to deeper skin tones, which I do think it's quite good that they did that 2 shade variations. And I could be tempted to get this, like when Byredo, because usually after a few months after they have released their sort of new products, usually their in-house brand has quite a lot of sales going on for them, so this could be something that when the brand has one of those that they have their own in-house products on like 30% off or something, or 40% off, which they do quite a lot, then I could be tempted to get this. But again, this is not a product that I will be making Byredo order for itself, but something that I could throw in my cart, and especially if I get a discount from it. The US price for this is $28, so I think in euros this might have been around 25 or 26, but nevertheless it is very, like, compared to especially the Makeup Forever palettes, like very inexpensive. But of course, maybe try this out, but don't expect the Makeup Forever quality. And if you don't like these cream if you generally don't like these cream sort of all over face product palettes, then I wouldn't even buy this, even if it's cheaper, because to have something this big, for example, in your makeup collection, I would really consider that would you use like this kind of product, because this is a product that's certainly not for everyone. Then let's get to some more products. Another sort of more inexpensive drugstore release, so shop Alter Ego, which is a dupe brand that is known for duping especially I think Natasha Denona palettes, but also other high-end palettes, and they have come out with the Uncover Whispers of the Wood. What is the name of this? Wildwood is the name of the palette. So this is already something that also has been out quite some time. There are reviews for this, and this is duping the Natasha Denona. And now I'm blanking completely. Which palette was it? Do I really have this bad of a memory? I'm sorry, now I have to Google this because I'm just feeling a bit stupid, because this the palette that is duping was one of, I think, the most popular palettes that she came out with last year. What's the name of it? Professionals as always. Yeah, Yucca palette, yes. So, back to the official scheduled program. So this is duping the Yucca palette, and it is arranged, I think, a bit differently. So I think what Alter Ego, I think this is actually the placement of the shades. I might actually like this bit more than the palette that is duping, because it has the sort of shimmers in one row and then the mattes, and you can shop this at Alter Ego's own website, so especially I think if you live in States, and you can get the more inexpensive shipping for these, and also the shipping is probably like gonna be a dozen times quicker than for to here in Europe, then this, if you're looking for the more inexpensive option to try for the Yucca palette, then this is now available. Let's go from drugstore to maybe some higher end stuff. So Tom Ford is coming out with Architecture Soft Matte Blurring Foundation, and this is like $150 and $88, and I assume that's in USD dollars, and even if it's in dollars, it's like a... I'm not gonna pay 150, or if this in euros, this is probably gonna be even more expensive. I'm not paying that much for a foundation, even if it would make me look like well, I'm not gonna say 20 years younger, because I don't want to look like a 12 or 11-year-old, but what I mean is that I'm not paying that much for a foundation. There were some comments who were saying that is this going to be apparently replacing one of their like older foundations that they had in similar like format. I can't answer you that, because Tom Ford is one of those brands that I don't actually buy from, but if you're willing to spend over $150 for a soft matte foundation, I would warmly recommend, if you spend that much on foundation, then please go and shade test it in store, because for that price, I think the foundation should match you perfectly. The shade range for now that I'm looking at is a bit meh. There seems to be like a lot of light shades and only like very few dark shades, so shame on you, Tom Ford, because there's actually a lot of light shade, actually, like at least in the picture I'm seeing of the shades. However, it could of course be that there are more to come, but like if this is actually their shade range, then this is pretty crappy for them. But yeah, this is probably... Is it already available? Yeah, it is already at least available in Harrods so in the UK, and probably will come soon to other Tom Ford retailers if it already isn't available. Okay, this is something that got me excited, because we have all known that we have probably, or if you have been watching my videos, you know that eyeshadow palettes for me haven't been that exciting. Well, no, there has been some exciting, but like if for the couple of other videos, I think we have been a bit on the meh side with the eyeshadow palettes, but now we have something very exciting. So bellabeautébar teased this already some time ago, and now it has been announced and it actually has been released. So this is their Secret Garden 25-pan eyeshadow palette, and when I saw this I was like, that this is like the Odense and Angelica Nyqvist original Hella palette on steroids, because this is like that palette but amped up with sort of holochrome. I'm not actually sure they're holochromes, but there should be like multichrome shimmers and sort of the pinks and greens I think are even more brighter ones than the sort of in the Hella palette. However, I did actually like the Hella palette for the fact that some of the greens were muted. But what I'm saying this, that I don't think this is a copy, but this is like just much more like if you would put the saturation up with that one and add more shades, then you would probably get this one. I'm a bit conflicted right now because I have been like waiting for bellabeautébar to come out with a palette that would be, because I have heard so much good about their formula, and I think this will probably come to Monolith Shop at some point here in Europe. However, I am still kinda, because it's £25, and yes, I am quite aware that I do own bigger palettes than this one. However, I try to avoid buying big palettes as this one, so I'm gonna wait and see what the price of this is going to be in the Monolith Shop, because I do believe that because of the special shades and how many shades this has, this is probably quite pricey. So I will see that what the price of this is when this becomes available on Monolith Shop and see what other like things there are during that month that I want to buy, that if I want to buy this. But this is like definitely in the strong maybe category in terms of palettes that I want to buy, because the color story truly is, because it has like pinks and neutrals and a bit of like greens. I don't like greens on their own, but in combination with some pinks and neutrals, it is actually a beautiful color combo. But yeah, but you can already buy this on bellabeautébar's own website. Next, some more luxury complexion releases. So Hourglass has released a compact powder, and I'm a bit confused right now because I'm not so sure. Well, they are known for their sort of finishing powders, so the difference between like this one and their finishing powder. So this one is supposed to be the sort of very traditional, like if you're looking for powder to sort of set your face and mattify your face, because the finishing powders that they have, those are meant to, I think, more bring out sort of glow and a bit of softness to your look. So that is why I'm not going to say that is this replacing one of their older products, or is this actually like new in their line. But this is also something that's already available, and this is $48 US, so that's a lot for a compact powder. With loose powders, I can actually maybe justify in some cases, if it's a good loose powder formula, of paying a bit more extra if there is a lot, because with loose powders I feel that those actually last longer. However, with pressed powders I have found out that, because I really, especially with my skin, because it is more sort of a combo skin leaning to oily, I found that I go through pressed powders quite quickly, so I wouldn't be, no matter how perfect it would make me look, I wouldn't spend this much money on a pressed powder. But if you are an Hourglass fan, because I do know there are a lot of people, then this is available now, and if you're someone who needs powder, then this probably will make you look very pretty. Next was a palette that had the sort of most strangest launch tactic okay, so this was, Sigma has announced their sort of a new palette, so this is called Cool Neutrals, and this is actually launching on May, and we are still on April, and this was actually a sneak peek on the beginning of April, because some influencers that, for example, I follow, they were apparently on a brand trip, and Sigma was sort of hosting, and that's when this palette sort of got not leaked out, because obviously I think Sigma had given them permission that, oh yeah, of course you're allowed to film and you post this on the social media. But I do feel a bit it was strange, because this was sort of, the sort of brand trip was so early compared to the fact that this isn't out yet, and it's gonna be actually out in the beginning of May. So by now, I think a lot of people on YouTube who got this during the brand trip, they have shown this on YouTube, they have done a lot of tutorials and looks with this one, but sort of normal consumers, like we still have to wait until May to be able to buy this. So I'm thinking that in terms of launch tactic, like if this would have been like a couple of weeks before the launch, then I would have been thinking that, oh yeah, that's cool, sort of create hype and, you know, have people the possibility to see what kind of looks you create with this one. But I'm just getting a feeling that maybe perhaps the timing was a bit too early, because in the current makeup market, if you're launching and announcing something like a month early when it's actually available to buy, then there's actually most likely there's going to be already like other products that people are much more interested in and talking about. So that's of course my opinion, and I think that for a lot of people, if they're looking for a cool tone neutral palette, then this could still be appealing on May. But the official launch date is 2nd of May, and I think you will be at least able to buy this on Sigma's own website. I do know a lot of people were sort of saying that it has some warm tones. I'm skipping this purely, and Sigma has been a brand that eyeshadow palettes have not been intriguing for some years for me, but for me, the sort of, I don't like yellow golds, so that's basically, I can actually do yellow mattes and mustard mattes. Actually, mustard matte shades are actually quite nice, but these old yellow gold shimmers are something that I don't like the way they look. So for me, that's the main reason why I'm not particularly interested in this particular palette, but I do actually think that it's quite a nice color combination. Rare Beauty has been doing something actually quite smart, so they have released their liquid highlighters and liquid blushes in minis, and I think considering that if you are someone like me and a lot of us who do have, there are people who have more manageable collection, but especially I think for someone who has a very big collection of liquid liquid products and those seems to be collecting, I'm actually very, like, if I would be, like, for example, in the market and able to buy Rare Beauty in store, I'd be quite happy if I were able to buy sort of liquid products in minis, because then it's most likely that I will actually get my use out of them. But I don't think there was any new shades in this one, they just sort of released them in mini format, and obviously they are. The liquid soft pinch liquid blushes are $14 US, and then the mini highlighters are $16 US, so they are of course a bit less expensive compared to the full size one, but very smart from the brand. Then another exciting indie release, so Unearthly Cosmetics has now their sort of spring collection. I did discuss this before, and this spring collection has been now available on their website. I do believe they are doing now their second pre-order for this one, because I think the first pre-order sold out. I still haven't seen on the Monolith shop if this will make it on their May launch. Monolith has now said that their May launch is going to be in the mid of May, so there's going to be a bit of time to that, so I'm not sure if this is going to make it to that one, but now I think that I have seen a bit better pictures of the palette, because I originally said, especially from the eyeshadow palette, that in the sort of video that it was first displayed when the owners sort of showed it, it was quite dark, the lighting conditions were quite dark, but I have seen the palette on sort of more in different kind of lighting collections. I do have to say that I do actually like it. Like, I think it's a nice sort of it's not a complete rainbow palette, but there is like some blues, but there are also some very like spring-like paler colors in this one. So again, I'm going to wait and see that if this one is available at Monolith shop and see what the price of it is, and if it's like reasonably priced, then I could be tempted to try this out, because while the previous Unearthly palette I tried, it was the Dreamer one, while I did have some complaints about it, I still altogether thought it was a nice palette, and I said that I would be open to try the brand in the future if something interesting came out. Aside from the palette, there were some lip glosses in this one, and also the blush palette. I already said that the blush palette, the tones look like something that they're a bit too deep for my liking, and the lip glosses are not something that I'm particularly interested in. But if you want to like order this now, you are, I think, able to do a pre-order on the brand's website, and the shipping I think will be at the end of this month. Then Viseart came out with another Étendu palette. I'm very sorry, my French pronunciation is crap. So this is the Paris Rêveries. That's not how you're supposed to pronounce that. I have actually seen quite a lot of reviews of this one. I think quite many luxury sort of review channels have been complaining that this looks quite similar to some of the palettes, because they came out with the, was it the Spertine? It was the one that came out with the sort of very sort of dark chocolate sort of shade themed one, and then there was the light sort of cool tone purple palette. And I do actually kind of agree that if you like cover the sort of sparkly peach color, especially from the middle of the palette, then I can understand why a lot of people have been saying that this is like beginning to be a bit too familiar of what we have seen from the brand. And also the brand has had some also older palettes in the same format that are quite similar, so Viseart seems to be a brand that very much likes their sort of muted violets and sort of basic browns. And yeah, I do kind of agree that if you have a big Viseart collection, then probably this is something you could skip, but if you sort of want a more, so I think paler version of the purple palettes they have purple neutral palettes they have come out before, then maybe this could be an option. But this is again already available on Viseart websites. I still haven't looked this, but I haven't still seen this on Boozy Shop's website, which is a Dutch retailer that stocks them, and some stuff comes to Beauty Bay, but it has been a bit slower. So, but if you're in Europe, like Beauty Bay and Boozy Shop are the few places I would like to check if you're interested in this one, and see that when it becomes available there. then the sort of, I think this was a bit of a bizarre release. Like, so Natasha Denona came out with this hybrid generation Hygiene skincare infused glow beautifier, and I, based on like the reviews I have watched from this and Natasha Denona's own videos, I don't know what this is, like, because initially I was thinking that, oh, she's now riding out the sort of blingy, like a highlighter trend, so because Fenty recently came out with their Demiglow highlighters, which I did buy one, and I have been like, that highlighter will be in a collective product review soon, but I have been liking that a lot. So I was thinking initially that this is going to be similar to Fenty, that this is going to be like a powder highlighter sort of reformulated, because Natasha Denona has had powder highlighters before. But then I saw Natasha's own like demo video, and in that video she's using this all over her face. And then I was thinking that, okay, then is it the sort of Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Filter kind of product? But then I'm a bit thrown off the fact that it's apparently like, it looks like a powder, but yeah, I mean, I think if this is really meant to be as used more of an under sort of makeup product all over your skin, then obviously this is not gonna suit me, because I'm someone with a oily leaning skin tone, so glowy products under my complexion are absolute no-go. But if you like your glowy based makeup, then this probably could be something you could try out. But yeah, I'm just I was a bit just confused like initially that what is this product meant for. You are apparently able to of course use this as a highlighter, but apparently this is not like meant to be a very like, if you're thinking about the Fenty Demiglow highlighter for example, which are very shiny, then I don't think this is supposed to be like on that kind of level of shine. Some more luxury brand stuff. So Dolce & Gabbana has I'm just checking, I think there might be actually more than one Dolce & Gabbana release in this video, but yeah, so Dolce & Gabbana came out with a very strange looking palette that I said reminded me of the original Fenty Beauty palettes, and yeah, and also they were like very expensive I think for what they were. But apparently they are now doing more on their makeup line, so they have announced skin tints in 30 shades, which I think that sounds quite decent for a skin tint. I'm not the skin tint kind of a girl, because I do like to have coverage in my makeup, and also if this is, yeah, it says skin radiance and 24-hour hydrating, so I'm thinking that this is probably not suited for my skin tone. Sorry, not skin tone, skin type. I would like maybe again, because there isn't price in the post that I'm looking at the product from. But if you are interested again, because the Dolce & Gabbana, like I said, the eyeshadow palette was quite expensive for I think what it was. So I assume the skin tint is also going to be very expensive. So again, I would maybe see if there is like a department store that stocks these, and go shade match yourself and really try to get a feel for the product, that is it a product that you would like on your skin, because I wouldn't go ordering a high-end skin tint online just based on online swatches to only find out that it doesn't suit my skin tone. Menagerie Cosmetics has come out with individual blushes. This is actually a brand that I haven't heard from quite a while, because I do know at some point this was a quite a popular brand. There were some eyeshadow palettes that did get hyped decently, and then they had their sort of bare blush palette that also got a lot of, I think, hype, especially from indie reviews. These are in the sort of same bare design sort of compact that they had their sort of big blush platform, but these are individual shades, and actually I do think that the shades are a bit like, there's one like a pale, I'd say this is pink peachy shade, and then there is the sort of like a more burnt red one, but I do say the couple of the few middle shades that are shown in this one, the more purple one and almost the sort of more grayish one that I think for some skin tones could work as a bronzer or a contour shade. Like, I do actually think that these are a bit on the more interesting side in terms of like blush shades. Also, I do like the bare packaging, that's very, very cute. When are these available and how much are these? These are already available on Menagerie's own website, and these are $15 US each, so I think for individual blushes from an indie brand that's actually quite decent. So there's more than blushes here, but Essence has come out with another, I think I discussed on my last video that Essence and Catrice are becoming the new Colourpop, and I will stick with what I said. So Essence has another limited edition collection, and this is Got a Crush on Apricots. I think I saw another makeup news video, I don't remember who made it, but they already said that why didn't they name this as a Fuzzy Peach collection, because Fuzzy Peach is the Pantone color of the year, because this is obviously, when you look at the colors of these products, then this is obviously their Fuzzy Peach collection. They're just for some reason calling it Apricots, but I digress. There's an Aura blush, there's a bake highlighter, lip oil, lip gloss, fuzzy face sponge. They even named it the fuzzy face sponge. Why didn't they name this the Fuzzy Peach color? Okay, yeah, yeah. Let's continue. Hair scrunchies and a Freckle pen. The cheek products looks kind of cute. I think Angelica Newquist mentioned that the blush is looking like a tit, but let's just ignore that. But there is a cute like apricot embossing, which looks like a peach, but anyway. But yeah, nothing I'm like running out to buy. This is gonna be available to me at some point, because Essence is one of those brands that's quite widely accessible in different retailers, but nothing in this collection. Like, it's cute and everything, and it's on the theme of this year's theme color, but not anything that I'm particularly interested in. And like I said, Essence has been coming out, just like with Catrice, a lot. Then there's an indie eyeshadow palette that I wanted to mention. So Micka Beauty, which is a European indie brand. I think they are French based, if I'm not completely mistaken. And they have announced their Simplicity palette, and I think this is quite of a nice sort of neutral palette with the pops of colors, and I think they are advertising this as something. This is launching on the 20th of April. Now I'm actually going to check so that's actually going to be next week when I'm filming this. And this is going to be 55 euros and 50 cents, which I think for a indie eyeshadow palette here in Europe is quite decent. There, of course, shipping cost will be added to that. I think this is, like I said, a nice neutral palette with a bit of color in it. Not something I'm going out to buy, but if you are someone living in Europe looking for indie eyeshadow palettes to try, then this could be a very, very good option to try out. Okay, now we're actually going to be seeing the first of these sort of glowy bronzing liquid products that there will be a couple of others in this video later, but yeah. So first one, Makeup Revolution has come out with the Bright Light Bronzing Drops, and I think that originally this trend has come from, was it Drunk Elephant who made this product popular from like higher end, and Drunk Elephant is a skincare brand if I'm not mistaken completely. They have 4 shades, so one that is Rosy Pink, Stardew Gold, which is the golden yellow, then there's Scorch, and then there's Spice. I'm a bit confused about the Stardew Gold and Rosy Pink, because if this is supposed to be bronzing drops, then I'd say the only bronzing shades are the Scorch and Spice, so I was a bit confused when I saw this on Makeup Revolution's website, that where is there obviously also blush and a more highlighting, so I think with the 2 other shades they should have just called them liquid highlighters, because or a highlighted blush what they are, and then the sort of 2 more brownish shades they should have called these liquid like bronzing drops. But yeah, so these are already available on Revolution's website, and I have seen these on a couple of Revolution like retailers that also sell the brand, and these are like £10 each. I think in euros these were 11 or 12 euros, but yeah, these are already available. Next, let's see, what did we have? This was actually something quite nice. So Glaminatrix came recently out with their sort of liquid blushes, which is always nice to see indie brands expanding beyond eyeshadows. And they have now they have actually expanded sort of their other products. So they came out with the lip liners and lipsticks, and the lipsticks in the peach bullet. These are very like. These look like very nice. I was thinking that these look like almost close to some high-end lipsticks, so these are very like pretty looking, and they are even in this sort of slimmery tube. The shades are quite in this sort of, I'd say, neutral pinkish realm, so the shades are a bit on the safer side. However, because indie brands, they have to like getting things produced, and how expensive is for them to produce things compared to maybe some mass market brands. I can understand that they are choosing first shades that are most likely like will sell very well, so I can understand why they're maybe choosing a bit more safer shades in terms of lipstick colors. And also the lip liners look kind of nice too, and they are apparently, they look like they match the lipstick shades. Not something I will be ordering all the way from Australia, but if these come to my shop in the, maybe with the other Glaminatrix releases, then I could be tempted to buy one of these. Not that I need more lip products, but these look absolutely beautiful. Now I think another sort of eyeshadow palette release that got me excited, and I'm just like very bummed now that I have spent my makeup budget for this month, because if I would have known that this was coming up a bit earlier, then some purchasing decisions would have been like moved out of the way, but yeah. So Unearthly Cosmetics has released their Mellow Grove collection. I do know that the brand has gotten a bit of critique, because I do know they have been teasing a collection, I think it is with the Avatar, the Airbender, the series, and people were sort of very like confused that this palette came out, which is obviously has nothing to do with the series, but and they still are now teasing the collaboration. So I get it that people are a bit confused what happened there. But regarding this palette, when I saw this, I was like, that did little like somehow guess what sort of my comfort idea for an eyeshadow palette, because this has mint greens, it has pinks, it has neutrals, it has some wine reds, which is the few red shades that I actually do like. And this is very like, very pretty, and I have now seen quite many reviews of this one, and they look like, the shimmers look like very nice and sparkly, and just the looks that I have seen have been very beautiful. This is 49 euros, and this is available on Lidl's website, and I hope this doesn't sell out. So I'm thinking that I will be buying this on May, unless something other very exciting comes out before this one. But and also because this is again more reasonably priced, being under 50 euros for an indie palette, then yeah. But very beautiful shades and a color story that truly is something that at least feels that it fits my preferences. So the next glowy product of the day, and I think I will be going through all the Colourpop releases. So welcome to our weekly Colourpop segment. Colourpop, you have been doing very well keeping your releases in a nice slow pace, so we don't have to talk about you every week. So these are new Colourpop liquid little glow drops. I don't know was this a product that was leaked, because I still haven't seen like too many like official images of this one, but just like with Makeup Revolution, there seems to be a warm golden bronze shade, so this I think is something again you would use as a bronzing, like glowy bronzing drops. Then there is the Petalite, which is a soft baby pink, so again either a pink leaning liquid highlighter or a liquid like glowy blush. And then we have an Icy Champagne, which is I think obviously for just like highlighting purposes. And these are actually, no wait, these are actually already available, I think, yeah, because it says for 11th of April that these have launched. Why haven't I seen a better image of this? Well, if I believe the image, these should be available but on their website, but again, as I said, this is continuing with the sort of liquid glowy products. Then the other Colourpop release, which I think was shown just this week, and this was basically, I think Trend Mood sort of showed this because she got the PR package for it. So this is the Disney, so they have done another Disney collaboration, so this is with the Beauty and the Beast, and I think a lot of people have been pretty excited for this one, because I do know that for a lot of, especially I think for a lot of born in the sort of 80s, this Beauty and the Beast was like the Disney movie of that time, so I do know that this has been, there's been quite a lot of hype for this. For me, this is a bit dull. I mean, the blush shades are something that I think I've seen Colourpop doing a dozen times before. Also, the sort of neutral palette with the 2 pops of blue. I mean, I will give them credit. The palette, I think, is very on par. I think with this collection, no one can complain that this doesn't sort of fit the movie, because I do think the palette actually fits the movie colors, and they are like nice neutral pinkish lip shades and some highlighter, but this is just like, I will get it that if you're a fan of this movie, I'm not, for me the Beauty and the Beast doesn't very hold particular lot of meaning, because I'm on the 90s side of things, so my Disney memory goes from like stuff before 2000s and then in the beginning of 2000s, so this wasn't a movie that had particular deep meaning for me, but if they ever do a collaboration with the Hunchback of Notre Dame, then I'm going to do it and do an order from the States. But regarding this collection, not something that I am interested in. And when is this launching? So this is launching like, because Colourpop does their launches I think every Thursday, so this is actually, is this launching actually the day I'm filming this? Yeah, so this is actually launching on the day I'm filming the video, so if you have been a fan of this movie, I might recommend being on the website when this launches, because I do feel still that this is going to be a collection that might actually sell out quite quickly. Then let's get to more. Oh, I did remember collect correctly, we do have another Dolce Gabbana. So aside from their sort of liquid skin tint, yeah, obviously it's a liquid because it's a skin tint. So we have actually more complexion products. So there seems to be blushes, there seems to be, are those actually like bronzers or powders? Bronzers, yeah. And then there is actually a pressed powder included also. So this is also probably going to be, oh, well this one actually has prices on them. So the pressed powder blushes are $50 US, that's quite a lot of from individual pressed powder blush, but then again when I'm thinking that how much does the, for example, full-size Charlotte Tilbury pressed powder blush cost, then I actually don't think that is that expensive, but it's still expensive for like a powder, individual powder product. Then we have the bronzers. The bronzers are $54 US. For some reason they are a bit expensive though, I'm not sure is it that is the bronzer bigger? 5 shades, well I think that's actually the deepest shade looks quite deep, so I think actually for a bronzer for a luxury brand that's already like more in the decent side of shade range. The blush shades I am saying are quite basic, like when I'm seeing these shades I'm thinking that yeah, luxury brands especially have done this kind of shade range before, so again I'm still not like vibing with Dolce & Gabbana as a makeup brand. Like I wasn't vibing with their eyeshadow palettes, but also like now the skin tint and seeing the packaging of the bronzers and the blushes, like this isn't getting me as excited, and for considering how expensive these are, then it should get me excited, but yeah. A skip for me, but were these already like available on... So the skin tint was available, but regarding these ones, maybe check your local if you have this sort of more fancier departments and they carry the brand, then maybe check out that order is already able for purchase. Okay, we are continuing with the liquid bronzing theme. So E.l.f. has announced their version also of this, and this again is meant to be, these are also advertised as bronzing drops. So these are $12 US each, so these are very inexpensive. These are looking like very like opaque, so I'm either thinking that when I'm looking at the arm swatches that have they really like just piled a lot of product on the arm swatches, or is this actually like does it actually have this lot of base to them as the swatches make it seem? Because if this is something that's meant to go under your makeup then and sort of blend in with your makeup, then I don't think the idea is also not meant to make you look like an Oompa Loompa or something that's like unnaturally, for example, darker than what your natural skin tone is. So yeah, I'd be, with this one I'd be especially like maybe careful and see that if you're able to have some sort of an tester or something. And I do know, for example, in States the issue is that drugstore product apparently they don't have testers, which I do think is a bit dull, because even with drugstore products you should able to be somehow see what the product looks like before buying it. But with this one, unlike with the other products that I think have been shown in this video, I do have some like some concerns that is it like because even the lightest shade looks like it's pretty opaque. So well, I'm not the one who likes to use these sort of bronzing products. I like my sort of I don't like to go on the sun because I just burn and everything, and I never have been able to get that nice tanned look. But yeah, I'd be maybe a bit cautious with the E.l.f. one because these look very opaque. I would maybe see that if there are reviews and see that if this is actually a formula that blends in with your other base products. But yeah, but it is like an inexpensive option for this, so only $12 US, so I think in terms of price it's very reasonable. So this is actually a drugstore release that did actually get me excited. So L'Oreal, I don't know, are they redoing this, because I do believe in the infallible has it been an infallible line? Because I do believe that they do have a powder highlighter in one of their lines, and it compact at least looks quite similar. But the highlighter illuminator, as they're advertising, is so they apparently there's like 2 shades, which yeah, that's a bit meh. But I am thinking that the paler shade does look kind of nice. What are the shade? Is it champagne? What's the paler shade called? Doesn't say. But there seems to be only 2 shades. Maybe as a big brand they could have maybe done a bit more than 2 shades. But I do actually like, this looks very pretty. If this becomes available at our L'Oreal retailers, I could be tempted to try this out. What does it actually say? 24-hour highlighter. Maybe don't wear your highlighter 24 hours. For all day glow. Yeah, this is up to 24-hour long wear highlighting powder, is heat-proof, waterproof, transfer-proof, and humidity-proof. That's a lot of claims. Please don't wear your highlighters for 24 hours, wash your makeup before you go to sleep. Regarding the humidity-proof, that's actually quite of a claim, because I do know there are a lot of like areas where the weather conditions where the humidity like is a real issue in terms of like how long your makeup lasts. So that is actually quite an interesting claim. I would like to see someone try test out in practice. NYX is apparently also coming out with Buttermelt blushes. I'm really bummed we still haven't gotten the bronzers. So here in Europe, NYX and Maybelline products are something that come really slow. With L'Oreal, there seems to be that some products come before here, then they come to US, and some stuff, for example, the highlighter that I just spoke of, that's actually already available apparently in the States, but here in Europe I haven't seen it yet. But with NYX and Maybelline, those are brands that usually just launch things first in US, and then some of it might come to here like some point, and we still haven't gotten the Buttermelt bronzer, and I would really like to get to try those. And now they're apparently coming out with blushes. Unfortunately, there's like only 1 shade that you will be seeing the image in. I think there might be, or there must be more shades, but I think this might be like another leak that someone has gotten the product in PR or something, or seen it in store accidentally. But yeah, I will be waiting more news and more knowledge, more information about the shade range, but I'm already excited even before like having tried the bronzer version, because like I said, NYX and Maybelline stuff comes slow. Natasha is extending, yeah, so she is extending her Yummy Skin. I think the blushes have been the one that have been very popular, and now she's adding sort of low lighters. So these are like her complexion cream products, but these are in a glowier version. So there seems to be a few more of these bronzing kind of shades, and a few that are then on the sort of blushy, more of a blush tone shades. I do say these do look quite shiny, so we all know that I can, if it's a bit of an, I do like a bit of a glowy blush, but if it's a super shiny blush, like I said with the Rare Beauty, for example, powder blushes, that I would not go out by those, because I would feel that those are too glowy for my preferences. But these ones, it's a bit on the like 50-50, that it's a bit difficult because these are obviously promotional photos. But if I'm just thinking that which shade I would be interested in, then it would be probably the Unbuttered, which is the pink shade. But yeah, these are available, will be available 6th of May from Sephora and on their own website. Natasha really also does this, that they announce products quite early compared to when they actually launch. So you will have to wait a bit to get this. But if you have been liking their sort of, I think, blush, sort of the blushes that they had in this similar compact before, then I think the highlighting or glowier ones, those probably will be also something you would be interested in. Then something I wanted to show just because this is pretty, so Guerlain Terracotta Super Bloom Summer Limited Edition. So this is basically, I think, Guerlain's terracotta bronzer, but just in a pretty packaging. And yeah, I'm not gonna buy this, but I just wanted to show it because I mean the bee is kinda, and this is kind of a person who doesn't, I don't even like bees, I detest them, I'm afraid of insects. So, but I just wanted to show that if you like your terracotta bronzers and you maybe want a limited edition, remember the bee in the cover. I don't know how well this will last when you actually start using the bronzer, so it could be that the bee embossing might fade away during the time. But if you like your terracotta bronzer and sort of would be interested in getting it in a pretty limited edition, like bee B sort of format, then this is going to be an option for you. How much is this gonna be? This is gonna be, I think, only in one shade, which, yeah, that's not exactly a good thing. So the Terracotta Light Bronzer in 03 medium warm is going to be the shade of this. So yeah, also if you're buying this, then check that will this sort of shade actually, is it the shade in the Terracotta Bronzer that will suit your skin tone. Then something P. Louise. So this is, as I said, a brand that I tried first time during last year, and the reason why I'm at the moment saying that my makeup budget is that I have used the one that I had for this month is that I actually did make a P. Louise order because it seemed that nothing interesting was coming out this month, and I did say last year that I would make another order sometime when there would be space in my budget. I didn't know the Lidl would be coming up with a new palette, and also there has been some issues with my order. I paid for more expensive quick shipping, and apparently they still shipped it with the very slow shipping they have for Europe, and my order still, the tracking hasn't updated, and I think if I counted, because they have a certain, within European Union they have certain time frame that they say that you have to wait out if it doesn't show up, but next week I think I will have to email the customer service again. I will give the customer service credit that they did actually refund me the sort of shipping the DHL Express shipping that I obviously paid for and didn't get the package from, because obviously I still haven't gotten the package. But yeah, I will be updating how that ended, but I'm still not very hopeful that I will be getting my order. But anyway, so last year I reviewed one of their budget boxes, and my sort of conclusion about their budget boxes was that because they do sneak peek the budget boxes beforehand, if you feel that all the products or most of the products are something that you would like to try, then the budget boxes are actually a good deal, even if you would maybe not if you order them to state or to outside of UK and Europe, because then I think the shipping might be very expensive and take a long time. But for example, now they have the budget box that will ship out during May, and this is apparently Ready Set Pack Your, I'm not gonna say the swear word, Pack Your S and Go. And I was actually contemplating that would I actually want to wait for next month for it to ship next month and order this, because this actually I think has very decent value if you want to try the brand. There's a huge face palette which has I think cream and powder products. There are 2 highlighters. Then there's the lip palette, which I wasn't a fan of because I did get one in my Christmas budget box, and that's the one that I actually ended up decluttering from that budget box. But I did say that still, considering that if you were someone who also used lip palettes, then it would have been a good value. But there's a 9-pan lip palette. Then you get 2 these sort of a lip products, so you get one of their I think lip oils, and then there's sort of lip glosses. And then you get a setting spray, a mascara, and then you get a primer in this one. So this is one of those budget boxes that I would say that if you are interested in this product and you're, for example, interested in trying out P. Louise, you don't get an eyeshadow in this one, so that's the only one, but you basically have almost full face of makeup. And if you order the budget box in euros, it's €35.95 plus the shipping. In UK, it's £30, and in UK, I believe that the shipping is very inexpensive, or you might even get it for free in some cases. But this is one of those budget boxes for P. Louise that I actually say that this is kind of an, I think, good value. Just that you will have to wait for this, because if you order this from this month, they will ship it next month, because they have a bit of a strange system how they do it. But yeah, this is something that I would say that if you want to try out the brand, then maybe give this one a go. Another indie release for this video, so GlamShop has released their sort of new 9-pan eyeshadow palettes, and I do actually think that I have been already waiting that when are they gonna start coming out with proper palettes again, because they did have some very small palettes for their Valentine's Day, which I said that I didn't like. And they are at least honestly calling this as the Fuzzy Peach or Peach Fuzz palette, which again, Peach Fuzz is the Pantone color of the year. I'm first gonna say actually that this isn't actually very peachy. There is a few peachy shades in the middle, the 2 neutrals, but then we have this sort of more mauvish leaning sort of neutral, 2 neutral colors. Then there's the red, and then there's the lilac, and then the shimmers also. I think none of them are very peachy. But then when I actually looked this longer, I was like thinking that I have seen this before, like this looks very familiar, and then I remembered why it might actually look a bit familiar. So, this is the Spokusa palette, and this was from their spring collection like a few years ago. And I was thinking that, yeah, so basically I think that if you got this a few years ago, then maybe you can skip the 9 pan, because I do feel that the 9 pan, like, we have the lilac, peachy shades here. The shimmers might actually not be identical. I actually have to like watch my phone and see. Actually, yeah, maybe like one of the darker shimmers could be maybe this purple down here, or even this like green leaning. Yeah, as I said, if you got this, if you got the big Spokusa palette last year, I think this it's a bit too similar to the, I think, to the 9 pan, but as I said, if you have been like, if you like this color story, like GlamShop is in quite like, for an indie brand, it's quite like it's not as pricey as some of the other indie brands, and especially if you live inside European Union, that's something that's quite easily accessible to you. I don't remember now on top of my head how much the 9 pan palettes cost, but also I think they are priced quite decently, and this is already available on their website. And then we are actually getting to the end. So, Blend Bunny announced their new collaboration palette, so they have collaborated with, what was the name of the creator is called Ellis, which I believe that the person is a drag artist. And this is a very like, first of all, the collaborator is looks very beautiful, and this probably is something very on par with them, but the big palette looks like an extension of their blends palette. Like, I think with Blend Bunny really, because they have done now the rainbow palette so many times before. This is like very like I'm not saying this because I do think for the collaborator this must be like the perfect color story, but this just looks like too similar to what the like palettes that Blend Bunny has come out with before. I do like the face trios, those look actually very nice, and I do think because they have come out, Blend Bunny has released these 2 very big blush palettes, but I do know a lot of people prefer like trios or even duos, so I think the blush trios are a very good like addition to their line. But unfortunately the eyeshadow palette, no matter how much, because I'm a person who likes Blend Bunny, but I feel like this is like a bit too much of the same that we have seen already like before. If you are of course looking for your ultimate rainbow palette and you thought that the Blends palette, for example, didn't have enough rainbow shades, then you will absolutely love this big one, but yeah. This is going to be a skip for me. So from another indie release, so Klarity Kosmetics has released their Oasis palette, and this is a very blue toned turquoisey palette. It's a skip for me because we all know that the blues aren't my first preferred shade, but I do say that it's nice that this is actually blues mixed with teals. The teals are something that I can actually work with occasionally and do like, but yeah, because it also has the darker blues, then this is a pause for me. But if you do like this kind of color story, then I think this is already, is it already available? It is already available, and you can order this from Clarity's own website. Then lastly, which was a bit surprising, so Melt is still doing their big palettes, which is something that, because we recently had the stacks released and I was thinking that are they gonna go back, but no, they are still doing the big ones. And this is with Melt weed themed, so if you don't like weed themed makeup, then this is obviously not for you. And also I'm not a person also who is particularly like gravitate towards this sort of makeup around this theme, but if you like Melt and you especially like your purples, then the Smoke Sessions 2 collection is probably going to be the perfect collection for you. And this is, what's the name of the eyeshadow palette? Was it Purple Haze? No, it's just called the Smoke Sessions 2 is the palette's name, and there also seems to be some like liquid eyeshadows, or are those actually powders? New Mesmerizing and Sour Grape Look or Purple. Gel eyeliners. Okay, no, the gel eyeliners are the 2, the very sort of bright acid green one and then the purple one, but now I'm saying that are those sort of, I can't exactly make out from the picture and description that the other 2 products in pots that are those like a more sort of an creamier eyeshadow, or are they jelly eyeshadow, or are they like powder pigments, but those are also included. And then I think there's supposed to be, there's some merch also included in this one. Yeah. Altogether, I'd say this is not a collection for me because of the theming and also because it's very like bright, like deep purple heavy, which again is one of those colors that's not my favorite type of color. But if you like Melt, this collection is available to you, and I do think that it's good that Melt is still doing their sort of bigger, this sort of rectangular eyeshadow palettes, because I do know that a lot of people have liked those eyeshadow palettes, and the brand has been a bit more, I think, quiet lately, so good to know that they're still running and going strong, because I do know that there are a lot of people who do like this brand. Phew, I think my voice is gonna go die down soon. That was a long video. I'm gonna have to see when I edit this that did we actually have like a very, I actually did like during the mid of the video, there were some products that I decided that I would skip because there were others that I wanted to include this in much more, but certainly, like, I think that we are now picking up with the makeup releases, because I do feel that the last month and a half has been feeling like we had of course had makeup releases, but at least for me those have been not interesting. But of course that's just my personal opinion. There probably has been a lot of products to other people that a lot of products that other people have been liking, but for me it has been maybe more slower. But yeah, we are definitely like, I think now again in the point where I will have to start like actually prioritizing which products I have to buy, because again I'm only doing this as a hobby and I have to like, there's only a certain amount of budget to makeup I can spend monthly, so I will have to start being a bit more pickier again on the coming months what I will be buying and what I will have to just skip. But anyway, I would really much like to hear from comments what have been the releases that you have been liking lately and are planning to buy, or if you already bought something that was included in this video. If you like this video, then push the like button, ring the bell button if you want to get future notifications from my content, and of course if you want to see more content from me, then subscribe to my channel. You can also find me with the same nickname, Makeup Hedgehog, on Instagram. I hope I will be seeing you in another video soon. Bye bye!